Okay, the final S of the Savers is scribe, and Hal Elrod will tell you in his books that he actually could not figure out what to name this part, so he had to go to the thesaurus and find what are they, synonyms for writing or journaling or things like that, because he couldn't figure out how to make savers work with any other word. So he came up with scribe. So that's how scribe came into this. But it's another word for journaling. And Anthony Robbins says a life worth living is a life worth recording. He journals. Oprah Winfrey journals. All of these big people, these big names, they journal. And this is one of the ones I always had a hard time with, because I didn't really see the benefit of it, and sitting down and writing for me was kind of difficult. But I committed to doing this, and I'm finding it to actually be very beneficial. I'm enjoying it. And what I've actually started doing is, as I've told some of you, I'm in my own 30-day challenge of doing the savers every day for 30 days. And what I found myself doing is my life is very hectic. So when I first get up in the morning before I start this, my mind is kind of all over the place. So it's hard for me to go straight into silence. So what I've been doing is I've actually been scribing first, because if I go in through and I scribe and I write, then I get all my thoughts out, and that kind of lets me release that, so I know that I'm not going to forget something. I write it all down, and that puts me where I'm calm, so I can go into my silence. So that's how I do it, and I actually am quite enjoying the scribing. Couple things. Number one, choose the media of how you want to do it. Some people like to do it on their phones and type it in. Personally, I believe handwriting is the best way to do it, again, because it engages the brain and it engages a whole lot of different aspects of neurological function, and it engages you into the process of the scribing. And just write for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever the time frame is you give yourself, just write. What I like to do is I start off with my goals, my acute goals, so like the goals that I'm trying to achieve by the end of this month. I write those goals out so that they're top of mind, and then I just start writing. I write about experiences that I had, the previous day, successes that I had the previous day, challenges that came up that I had to overcome and what I learned from them, different challenges in different areas of life, different successes in every area of life, things that I'm worried about, things that I'm trying to resolve, things that are changing, all these different things. So you have this journal of entries, and what will happen is you can go back every 30 days and read your journal of entries and make notes on the things that you've learned so you don't forget them. And then you can go back in 6 months and read the notes from the previous 6 months and make sure you don't forget them. And you can review over a year. So you can go through and you can constantly be going back and looking at and remembering what you've learned and remembering what you've been through and where you've come and seeing the progress, because a lot of that really helps as well. So scribing and journaling is a very, very effective way for you to record your life, to make sure you're not missing out on opportunities for learning, making sure you're keeping your mind on the right things. Some people like to journal their gratitude, the things they're thankful for. Some people journal just lessons learned. Some people journal just what they're going to do for the day, but you just journal so that you can get it all out and kind of express it. So I highly recommend you doing it. Another thing that I recommend doing, which is outside of what they talk about on the Miracle Morning, but once a week I shoot a 2 to 3 minute video. And the reason I do that is because, again, at the end of the year, I can go through and spend 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, and get a history of what happened over the last year. And so that's another way to do it, and it's a little bit quicker, and you can kind of get emotion in there, and you can kind of talk a little quicker than you can write, so you get a lot of good summary information. So I highly recommend this. Again, personally, I take it and I reverse the order so that I can kind of clear my mind to get into the silence. But a lot of people like to scribe at the end so they can write about their experience of what they've gone through. All right, I hope that makes sense.